Hello, my name is Ben Wolkoff, and welcome to another daily anti-fascist video of inspired defiance. Today, I'm inspired by just how little our House of Representatives is functioning right now. Theoretically, they have the power of the purse. They have the ability to appropriate funding for things and to distribute it out into the states. And yet, what seems to be happening more and more is that the White House is either clawing back that funding or simply not distributing it in the way that it should. We have a government of checks and balances. We have a government that functions only if everyone is doing so in good faith. But right now, after almost 4 weeks of non-functioning in the House of Representatives and over 2 weeks of a government shutdown, we are seeing just how much control the White House and the executive branch is taking over our government. It isn't about a procedural shift either. The House of Representatives and Congress in general gets to decide where the money goes. That's why there are the budget committees. That's why they go through such a rigorous process in order to pass the budget, or theoretically pass the budget every year. But when the White House gets to decide how our collective resources are being used or not being used, absent of any contributions from the legislature, it is a loss for us as a nation. Where we are headed with the Congress as it is right now is the idea that it is just a bunch of figureheads, that they don't actually have any real power because they are not exerting it, because they are not using the power that has been given them by the Constitution. They have abdicated their responsibility. And what we need is for everyone to call upon their legislators to say, do your jobs, perform oversight functions, ask difficult questions, and do not stop until you get those answers. And I'm worried that if the legislature doesn't take this opportunity to regain their footing, to come to their senses and actually say, we have work to do. We need to show up and pass laws, and we need to have oversight, then they will never get it back. And that is a truly terrifying idea. I'm also inspired today by the fact that tens of thousands of federal employees who were near retirement age or who for other reasons have found other work, they are leaving. I know the story is actually about how many people Trump is firing and whether or not that is legal or not, but the issue at hand is that they have made these places such terrible work environments that nobody wants to stay. It's hard for me to say to people who are in this position that they should stay, that they should ride out the rest of this presidency or longer. And the issue is not waste, abuse, and fraud. The issue is that these are the people with the expertise. These are the folks with the institutional knowledge, the understanding of how government works. They are the ones that allow us to function as a nation. And the idea that you can just keep on cutting or that you can get rid of people who actually know how it works and end up with a workable system on the other end is ludicrous. And it makes me question, one, who is going to be left at these institutions? And two, who are the people that are going to take the place of these folks who are leaving? Because my guess is it's going to be an ideological hiring process and not an expertise-based hiring process. For as much as they want to talk about meritocracy being the way in which we should function as a nation or as a government or in the entire public sphere, we are talking about real people here. And the folks who want to be in this government, that want to serve under this president, are not the folks with expertise. And we've seen this at the highest level with folks like RFK Jr. who are running these enormous departments and have no idea how to do so. They don't understand the inner workings, nor do they care. And we've seen other folks like Marco Rubio who has all of these interim roles that are across so many different departments. It is the hollowing out of our institutions, the denial of expertise as a value. The mass departure of our federal workforce is going to lead to catastrophic issues. And I just wonder who's going to be there to pick up the pieces. And lastly, I'm inspired today by just how much our president wants to hurt liberal areas, wants to harm US citizens because they didn't vote for him. We've seen it over the last couple of weeks with the deployment of the National Guard in Portland and in Chicago. The idea is that there are some parts of the nation that do not deserve our full respect, and the people who live there should not be treated as US citizens. They should be treated with suspicion, and we should not respect their human rights. I'm not the kind of person who needs everyone to get along, but I am the kind of person who believes that the president is the president for all of us. And when a president does not see themselves as responsible for all of the people, but only the people who voted for him and who continue to believe him, then what we end up with is a nation, a world where your political ideas dictate how well you are cared for in the society. To make some American citizens feel less than others is to do a great disservice to our history. It is turning the clock back on progress, and it creates justification for harm. When the power of the federal government is being used to disadvantage some communities and prize and value others, it is making for a haves and have-nots that is focused specifically on the power of political belief. And while I do believe that there are always sort of winners and losers in any policy, it isn't a zero-sum game. Our nation isn't a zero-sum game. You don't have to put down the left in order to raise up the right. You don't have to make an enemy of others in order to feel good about yourself. As a former middle school teacher, I know this to be true because that's what a bully does. And one of the only ways to get rid of a bully in middle school is to laugh directly in their face that their need for reassurance, for feeling good about themselves, requires them to beat up on someone else. And it's laughable. It is silly. It is dumb. That is not the way that it works. And that's what I see so much in the protests that are happening right now. The people that are putting on frog costumes or other inflatables are showing just how ridiculous it is to say that these people over here are evil and require this level of intervention in order to keep them on the right track, in order to bully them into submission. And so I see so many people understanding deeply that when an oppressive power, someone who is in control, says to you, you are less than because you do not believe what I believe, we can just turn to them and laugh in their faces. And so, to Donald Trump or anyone else who might say that this area of the country is evil or needs to be put in their place, or that they are trying to foment insurrection, all I can say is that it's laughable. It's silly. And while they might have power right now, the number of people who are going to show up, who are going to show just how silly this whole control effort is being, it's going to be absolutely massive.